I really think that your environment affects your mood and affects your life, and even as in Fairhope, the mayor goes to the school children when I worked there, and he would say, we don't litter in Fairhope. We clean up our environment. We keep our environment clean, and and it's important, because if you throw your trash and they throw their trash, then all of a sudden it's just normal to throw trash, and and so I say all that to say, like, the pride that people have, when you see people who live here. I would see when I worked at the senior center, people would walk to the next center. When they got there, they'd have a Greer's bag and a grocery bag and knot it up, where if they saw anything on the side of the road, a weed, a Coke can, they picked it up, because they want Fairhope to be beautiful.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back into our Century Check-In podcast, brought to you by Century Bank, here where we take banking personally. And we are on location today in our Fairhope branch in Fairhope, Alabama. So I was really excited about this episode. We're going to highlight the community of Fairhope. Today, our guest host is one of our employees at the Fairhope branch, Nancy Martinier. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
I'm
yes,
so excited.
Thank you.
All right. And so Nancy is in our business banking department. She's a loan officer in the business banking department here in the Fairhope branch. And so I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about herself to get started. And then we're going to introduce our special guest today and what she's here to talk about. So Nancy, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at the bank, and what exactly you do here, and how everybody can come in to see you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, Jill. I am excited to be here. So I am, like she said, business banking loan officer here in Fairhope. So all things business, I would love to help you with, especially lending-wise. It would be construction loans, land loans, and then for your business, any business opportunities, checking, deposits. We are just a very family-oriented bank, small bank, and we bring that to our customers.
We do. Yeah. We always like to say that we're proud to be a community bank, serving the community and being involved in the community. That's really a big part of what we're about here, and why we like to stay so plugged in and committed to the communities that we serve.
Absolutely.
So today we have Alex Robinson, and we're excited to have you in, Allison. Thank you for being here this morning.
Absolutely.
Alex is the executive director of the Downtown Fairhope Business Association.
Yes.
I knew that I was going to get tongue-tied this morning when I said that.
It's a mouthful.
I know. Well, tell us a little bit about the Downtown Fairhope Business Association.
Sure.
What do y'all actually do, and what services do you provide to the community and to the city?
Sure. Okay. Well, so the Downtown Fairhope Business Association is a nonprofit, and it consists of brick and mortar businesses that are here in Fairhope. It started, probably over 50 years ago, and a few of the original Fairhope businesses that are still in town today, the founders of those, so their parents and grandparents got together and said, we really want to put together a map of downtown, so when people come to visit, they know where the antique stores are, where the toy store is, apparel, all the things. And so that's kind of where it started. And then it turned into more about quality of life for the people who live here, for the people who visit here. Things like downtown trick or treat that we do for the children in our community. Things like glow in the park movies, and we actually shut the street down in December when all the lights are in the trees, and do a movie in the street. The Polar Express we did for a really long time. We've done the Grinch the last few years, but kids wear their pajamas, and we have hot chocolate and popcorn, and that's something that the downtown merchants do kind of as a gift to the people who live here and those children, just as a way to say thank you for supporting those local businesses, and a way to say that, shopping local matters, and that they really rely on the community to keep downtown Fairhope sustainable. And so those types of things. Sometimes it's an advertising co-op. They partner together and do different ads and things like Southern Living that otherwise may be too costly for one business. we have meetings where someone from the city always comes to talk about, we're going to have street closures. We're going to be working on these construction permits so that the businesses know what's going on. In addition, we have a police officer that comes and they talk about just things that the community may want to be aware of. And then also the opportunity that the merchants can interact with them so they feel comfortable and ask questions about things that are going on. So we do a lot, and over the years it's kind of evolved into just really what those businesses need and kind of a lifeline between them and the city.
Okay. And so these are admission-free type of events that you're talking about?
Yes.
So
yes.
just
We do Girls' Night Out,
Yeah.
And you guys are a big sponsor of that, and we're so appreciative. And that is a way that I've really seen Century Bank plug into Fairhope and really want to be a part of our community and something that's become really special. This is our 12th anniversary, and it's really started as a night where we wanted to encourage women to come out, be with each other, shop, dine, enjoy downtown Fairhope. It's a lot of locals, but we also have people who come every year from New Orleans and Pensacola and Mississippi. And, they get a fun little bag and a shirt, and they get this fun little book of coupons and things that the stores are doing downtown. So it's a great way for us to kind of stimulate our economy on a Thursday afternoon when these stores would be closed, but also a way for, women to enjoy our community together.
I think it's a great event. Last year, I got to come last year. Stacy invited Donna, that's our division manager in Mississippi, and I over to just kind of be with the bank and help with that event. We had a great time, and I was so impressed and so amazed at just how well organized it was.
Thank you.
How inviting all the people were, and I thought it was a great event. We had a great time.
Well, good. I'm so glad to hear that. We just
did.
every year try to make it a little better than the year before, and
you have themes every year?
yes, this year it's a Masters theme. So
Okay.
we're ready to party, T-E-E,
Okay.
and all the things. And
Well,
so,
gosh, I'm gonna have to make sure I get invited back this year. I need to check with Stacy on that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and the bank is doing the most adorable hats, and they're actually modeled after a hat that they sell at the Masters. And instead of Augusta, it says Fairhope, kind of backwards with a little flag, and they are precious. And so I've had all kinds of people message, do we get one of those hats? I'm like, yes. They're like, oh my gosh. And so it's gonna be a really fun night.
Well, that's great. That's great. So tell us a little bit about like the origination of Girls Night Out. Like, how did that start, and what was the purpose of it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so much of what we do, we learned from other places, not just the Downtown Fairhope Business Association, but the city of Fairhope. People are always amazed when I tell them, like, we have these beautiful trash cans downtown that sometimes people don't even realize it's a trash can. Yeah. And then on the top, we have flowers that we change out seasonally. And, we say in Fairhope, even our trash cans should be beautiful, right?
Right.
But we got that idea from the Grand Floridian in Disney World.
Oh, okay.
And so several mayors ago went on vacation and said, gosh, we can build these, we can do this. And that's another really cool thing about Fairhope. We own our own utilities. So we own our own, all of our utilities, and service a lot of cities even to the sides of us, which gives us a really cool advantage to be able to do things like, when I have farmers market, I don't have to call, an outside water department. I can say, hey guys, can y'all come over here and drop me a water line? Or I need a power box here. We have carpenters. Hey, can you build this bookshelf? I want, to put brochures on in the welcome center. Or, hey, we want these cool trash cans. And that's something really unique to Fairhope. I really don't know anywhere else that has that kind of collaboration. And a lot of what we're able to do, even budget-wise, is because of that revenue that we get off of owning our own utilities.
Okay.
So it's, our flower program, and I'm kind of getting off topic, so I'll go back to what you asked me.
Okay.
But the flower program, we spend over $250,000 annually on flowers, and we're really able to do that because of the revenue that comes from owning our own utilities. So it really enables us to do a lot of really cool things that other people, can't do. Or have to have a different avenue to do.
Right.
We saw it a lot after hurricanes when people are rebuilding in Mississippi and Louisiana. They come to Fairhope and say, when we rebuild, we want to do what you do. And
That's awesome.
it's it's not always, they're like, man, we're like, we grow our own flowers. We have a city horticulturist that's on staff. We have 2 full-time people that just water flowers. And that's not something that everybody can do.
Right.
But, it really positions us. We don't spend money on advertising as a city. People call when I worked at the city and say, hey, buy this ad or do this. And I would say, we don't do that. We advertise with flowers. And that has paid off for the city of Fairhope, 1,000-fold, because we get a lot of really good free PR, which is better than PR that you pay for.
That's right.
And it makes people who come here want to come back, or move here.
Yeah.
And so we've seen that happen too. But your original question was what? I'm so sorry.
So I was just wondering how Girls Night Out originated
Yes.
and what the purpose of that was.
Someone went to another city.
Okay.
One of our board members went and said, man, this is cool. I think maybe it was Franklin, Tennessee. And we need to do this in Fairhope. So that was 12 years ago. She came back, and we were like, heck yeah, let's try it. And so we've tried it, and I think ours is bigger now.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
so,
great.
it's a fun
Yeah,
thing.
I know
Yeah.
all my friends and other mamas with kids. I mean, it's a night that we look forward to, just to
good.
get out and enjoy the
town.
city and enjoy
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
It's a great time.
Yeah, I thought it was a great time too. Last year, I had never heard of it. And then Stacy kind of asked if we wanted to come over and help with it. So, yeah, I thought it was a great event. I'm
Well, we're
looking
certainly
forward to it.
grateful for Century
Yeah.
Bank and for their involvement, and we're grateful that I've gotten to know Stacy, and we've worked together on a lot of things, and so it's really is your mission about being family friendly and community oriented. That's clearly evident in what you guys value and the ways that you pour into the communities that you're in.
Now, do you use that event to just put back into the city, or do you use the profits from that event to service a certain project for the city or a certain organization?
We actually don't make any money. Every
Okay.
bit of money
Really?
that we raise, sometimes we even go in the hole a little bit.
Okay.
But so that's really not the purpose. The purpose is really just to support those downtown
Those
businesses,
businesses. Okay.
and to
That's
get
great.
people back in town. So I think one of the reasons that we sell out so quickly this year, we sold out I think in like 2.5 hours, is because you get so much value. You get a
Right.
bag and a shirt and a swig, and this year we were getting a hat, and Thomas Hospital comes and they do a photo booth and kind of promote women's health, and there's live music, and the merchants really get on board and do things like refreshments and cookies and balloons, and so it really is just supposed to be a night about supporting local, shopping local. We don't allow like outside vendors to come and sell. And sometimes they get frustrated with me.
Yeah.
But I say this really is for those merchants who are here,
And loyal
in
to
the
your
fabric of our
community.
community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's been, and a lot of people will say like, man, you could have sold more tickets. But
So there is a limit
there is
on
a
entry.
limit.
So you do have to have a ticket
Yes,
to attend.
you have, but,
Okay.
but we encourage people, if you didn't get a ticket, of course you can still come and dine and shop, hang out with your
Right.
friends, share their coupon book, and a lot of the stores are going to honor those things anyway. You're going to be able to enjoy the photo booth and the live music, but for us to have a smooth check-in and to make it an enjoyable experience for everybody that comes, which is really important for us, we have to just cap that number because
Right.
there's only so many of us, and things like y'all were so generous to donate those hats for you certainly have to say like this is the amount that we feel comfortable with. We do, like I said, sometimes go in the hole, and when you start buying t-shirts ahead of time and coupon books, like you want to make sure that all that product is used. So we always go on sale April 1st, and all of the people that miss the event, I still said, come on out, enjoy that night regardless, and then next year set your little timer on your phone and at 8:00 get on and get your tickets.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Well, Nancy, I want to circle back to you for just a few minutes. I might have moved on too early from you a while ago. I might not have
No,
given you
you- not
the
at
right
all.
time to
Not at
talk. So tell us a little bit about how you're involved in the community of Fairhope and like some organizations that you are involved in and you partner with.
Oh, great. Yes. So I'm really involved with Baldwin County Home Builders Association. They have an associate council which supports our builders in the industry, residential builders specifically. So lots of construction
Yes,
going on
always.
around town. So we love to support them and small businesses. So whether it's you're building your dream home in Fairhope or starting your business in Fairhope, we have some great lending opportunities for those things. So through the Home Builders Association, volunteering my time with the associate council there. And we started a professional women in building group that I'm really involved with, and we focus on workforce development. And,
that's great.
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're on our 4th year of Baldwin Girls Build. So Baldwin County opened a new Baldwin Preparatory School out in Stapleton. And we do a girls-only camp once a year. It's in the summer in June. And we invite 7th, 8th, and 9th grade girls to come out, and they build something. So they truly use saws and hammers and all the things. And they built some really cool Adirondack chairs. We've built lamps. So just introducing them to the trades and showing them, just some different avenues to success.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Absolutely.
Hands-on type of things, getting them out from behind the screens and
Absolutely.
outside.
And I tell you what, those girls, they are not scared. I mean, we partner with Baldwin Prep and their instructors, and they put down their safety glasses and they go to town on the electric saws. It's awesome to watch them grow over that week and see their confidence build.
Yeah.
So
I need to take that class. That
it's
sounds
great.
like-
I know. I might want to do that too.
Yeah.
So the Home Builders Association, is that that's made up of business like contractors, lenders? Tell us about that a little bit.
So there's a couple of different parts, but mainly we support the builders. It's residential builders in Baldwin County throughout. The Home Builders office is just here in Fairhope. But residential builders make up the builder side of things, and then the associate council part of it is anything that would support the builders themselves. So from bankers and lenders, mortgage officers, real estate agents, your electricians, your plumbers, anything that would go into the building
of a
industry.
home.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, that's great.
And we're super involved here in Fairhope. We did the Sweet Home House. I don't know if you're familiar with that. We
Yes.
partnered with Panini Pete
Yes.
and built the house downtown.
For John and Crystal,
oh
who
gosh,
are just
they
a
are
part of
awesome.
the fabric of our community for sure.
Absolutely. And
So
just
that
super
was,
fun.
tell us a little bit about that. Was that a build for like a?
It
how-
was so their home. Panini Pete came to us, and Johnny and Crystal they had a house that needed some remodeling done, and the community really pulled together, and we fundraised, we built, people volunteered their money, their time, their efforts, and built them a beautiful home. Right downtown Fairhope, just close to the old K1 Center in that area, just the heart of it.
So they're a very well-known couple, like in the community in
Yes.
Fairhope. Okay.
Absolutely. They went through Fairhope,
Yes.
Fairhope School, and Johnny has worked with Panini Pete.
Yes.
He's
Forever.
just always
Yes.
Panini Pete. I know.
Yes.
But he worked with him forever and just kind of took him in, and it's
Well, that's
It's-
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's a
wonderful.
great project.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And I really think that is part of Fairhope. Like
Absolutely.
when we see a need that can be filled, people come together and
Yeah,
work together.
definitely.
And, I tell people all the time, like, there's so many wonderful things about Fairhope. I mean, the flowers and the water and our downtown. But the thing that's really special about Fairhope is really the people.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, because I've never seen a town with more volunteers, with more people who just step up when there's a need. And, that's what really makes Fairhope different and special.
does.
And everybody brings their talent, like their talents to whatever.
To get the project
yes,
done. That's
absolutely.
great. Well, that's
and
a great
just
thing.
to that with the streets on the town. I mean, she says closing down the streets and the kids get to watch a movie in the street. That's super special. I mean, they're in the middle of the street, and to a kid, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of the street
Yes, this
watching
is
a
where
movie."
we drive.
The snow
Yes.
comes down, lighting up the
Yes.
trees. It's a special
When any other day they
time.
would be in trouble for being in the middle of the street.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then now I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and she's, "Mom, so me and so want to go walk downtown." I'm like,
Yes.
"What are you gonna
We
do?"
do that too. We do that at my house. But what a
I feel
gift.
comfortable.
Yes. What a
Absolutely.
gift that our children have a safe place.
Definitely.
And there's police presence downtown. The
The store owners,
they're kind.
They are. I mean,
Yes, I remind my 13-year-old, I know everybody down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
better
know
be
them
sweet.
and they know your mom. You can't
Yes,
get
you
away
better
with
be
anything. Yeah.
sweet and don't be disruptive. But they enjoy having that independence to walk
Yes.
downtown and grab an ice cream at Mr. Jean's Beans or go have Mexican. And I think about how special that is.
Yeah.
That they are able to do that and go to the park, and
Yeah.
it's great.
and it's nights like y'all provide that give our kids the comfort to do that too.
Right.
You
Well-
know, they we introduce it to them slowly.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then they're on
That
the road.
is a
Yes.
great thing. We kind of feel that way about Lucedale too, like where we're located in our
Yes.
hometown. We feel like that too.
I see a lot of similarities
yeah.
with Lucedale and Fairhope.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're such a good fit for the area.
I think
Yeah.
so too. Well, in reading your bio, just a little bit about you and you telling us a little bit about yourself. Let's back up just a little bit to how you got started in this profession and what
Okay.
drew you to Fairhope, and
Okay.
talk a little bit about your college experience and interning here, and then it kind of led you here.
Yes. Okay. Well, I grew up in Mobile, but had family in Fairhope and always loved Fairhope. Spent time here as a child. And it's strange. I always have felt drawn to it. I always have loved it. And so when I graduated from high school, went to Auburn, and my husband and I dated throughout college. And he was a few years older than me. So when he graduated from law school, I graduated from Auburn. And the last semester of my college, I had to do an internship. And I knew I wanted to do it here because it's where I wanted to live.
Yeah.
And so I called the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce, and they said, well, we've never had an intern before, and we don't have like a salary for that. I said, I'll do it for free. If you'll just hire me and let me do it, I'll come do it for free. And they said, great. That's wonderful.
Why not?
And
Yeah.
so I helped plan arts and crafts that year. And I tried to be as hands-on as I could. I borrowed my daddy's truck and hitched the trailer to the back. I drove it over to Loxley, Flowerwood, helped him, put azaleas in the trailer and unload it. And so the ladies there knew Sherry, who was over all the special events at the time, and she was looking to hire somebody to help her because her responsibilities had just grown so much. Yeah. And they were sweet enough to say, like, Alex is a hard worker. We really have enjoyed her. And so I hadn't even really considered that because I was just, I want to be here. I want a job.
Right.
And so God really opened that door for me. And I graduated from Auburn on a Saturday and went to work for Sherry, planning special events on a Monday.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I did that until my second child was born. Mm-hmm. And then after my second child was born, that job consisted of 4th of July, New Year's Eve. It was, farmers markets, lates on Thursday. It was a lot of weekends, a lot of nights. I drug my first child around with me.
Yeah.
And they were sweet to do that. But with two, it was a little bit more, I was outnumbered.
Yeah.
And so I actually went to Sherry and said, gosh, I love my job. I love my job. I love what I do. And, it really, my husband and I kind of thrust us into Fairhope because we were at every special event, everything, which was wonderful because instantly we felt like we were part of the community and it was just perfect. And so she was like, I think we can do that. I think we can get you part-time. Well, she came back. She was like, the council would have to vote on it and all these budgets and all these things. I just don't think we can make it happen. And so I was, I cried for 2 weeks, but I said, I got to be home with my babies. I didn't know what to do. And so at the Downtown Fairhope Business Association, I had been working with them in my other role as special events coordinator, and they said, look, we've grown to the point, Fairhope was just growing like crazy, just growing. And they said, we really need a part-time person to, help us with the finance part and the Facebook part and, run our meetings and collect our membership. And so, we'll work around you, we'll work around your babies as long as everything gets done. And I thought, golly, that's perfect. And so I took that job about 13 years ago.
Okay.
Honestly, never thinking that I would still be doing it 13 years later. But it's such a fun job. Most of the time, it doesn't even feel like work. These merchants have become a part of my family, like through my baby showers. A lot of them were at my wedding. And I genuinely, care about the success of their business. And I love Fairhope. I want to see it succeed. And, Fairhope is such an easy sell. You do a thing like Girls Night Out. It's like people just come, And so I don't take credit for the downtown merchant is growing the way it has, it really is that just Fairhope is awesome. It's wonderful, and like it has grown, and people see what we have and want to be a part of it. And so I kind of, the only thing I've ever done is Fairhope. My entire adult life has been, for the last 20 years, promoting Fairhope, kind of nurturing Fairhope, planning events for Fairhope. And so it's really been a dream. It's been a dream job.
Right. And so in your email with your bio, you had said that it was your dream job and a labor of love.
Yes.
So it's, and what you just said, so
Yes.
the Lord opened that door for you
Yes.
and you just went right through.
Yes.
And then he provided this other opportunity for you.
And then my first boss is now the mayor.
Yeah.
Which
Your current mayor?
That's the current mayor.
Okay.
So the person who hired me at the city is now the mayor of Fairhope, and is like fourth generation Fairhope. She loves Fairhope. I mean, I don't know that we'll ever have somebody who works as hard. I mean, as she does for us. I drive by sometimes on the weekends. It's Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, go home. She did just have a grandbaby, so she's feeling some of her time. But she encouraged my husband to be a part of the planning commission years and years ago, which I don't really recommend anybody be on a planning commission. I mean, it is. And in Fairhope, nobody wants you to build anything. Nobody, everybody wants to keep things the way they are. We always say people want to come here and lock the gate. But, people will say, like, we don't want anybody else to move to Fairhope. And you're like, how long have you lived here? 2 years. We're like, well, And so, so that was a very hard job. But it kind of segued into him eventually running for city council. And so he's now in his third term in city council.
Okay.
And that's been kind of a dream job for him because, Jay and I got married. I got my job at the city when I was 21. And then a few years later, Jay and I got married, and she was at our wedding. I mean, she was like I say second mom, but she would say like a sister.
Yeah.
But, I moved here and was like, where do I go to the dentist? Where do I go to the doctor? And so, anyway, that's been a really fun thing for all of us. And, we really just, as cheesy and kind of corny as it sounds, have a heart for service to this community.
You can tell.
We love it, and
Well, and a lot of times when you can see that in people, that you'll see that's what drives the success of anything that they're involved in, is because it is a labor of love. You do have your heart in it. It is your passion to do that. Well, that's great.
Yes.
And I can just tell that just in this just short time of meeting
thank
you,
you.
that's
Thank you.
how you are. So let's talk about, I feel like you've touched on some other events with the city, but like what are some other events that y'all do for maybe bringing in, I know you said y'all don't really advertise, but that you do to just get the word out about who you are, how unique you are, how special you are. I know it's a word of mouth type of thing, but just to encourage people to come in, either to shop, to visit, to vacation.
Yes.
Things like that.
Well, so, the state of Alabama has like an Alabama Visitors and Convention Bureau. And they've always been very supportive of Fairhope and of the Gulf Coast. We partner with them and the city of Fairhope and do kind of a guide to the city every year. And in that guide, we put information about, our golf courses, our airport, all of the flowers by season, because people come and they're like, what are y'all planning? What's coming in next? What's that yellow flower? And so it's a really easy way to say, here's what grows well in Fairhope right now and what we're growing right now. And so it has the Mardi Gras parade route, the Mardi Gras schedule. And so we partner with them to kind of do that. And then they put that in all 13 state welcome centers across the state. That is in the state capitol. The Grand Hotel is normally on the back, or they're always on the back of that guide. They give that out at the Grand Hotel to all of their guests. The Hampton Inn is in there. They give that out. So, we're very fortunate that a lot of people now are doing destination weddings in Fairhope and reunions and all the things that are really good for business and good for our downtown, good for our hotels and our lodging. But that guide is something that kind of started as that map. And every year they've said, God, it'd be great if we had the plantings. It'd be great if we had Mardi Gras. Or it'd be great if, these people who do own their own aircraft, how can we get there comfortably? It has all that information, and it's kind of grown from this one-page map to something that's now like, I think, 26 pages. And so a lot of times people will say, like, maybe it's a little antiquated. We need to just do a QR code. And I'm like, there's something about holding it in your hand and being able to
Definitely.
open a map. And there's something about being able to, for, someone who is, the same age as my mother and father, if they call and say, hey, we're coming to Fairhope, we want a guide to the city. We want to map out our day, or we want to know like where all the antique shops are. They don't really want a QR code. They want a map.
That's
and
right.
so, even I told somebody the other day, I was like, even when you go to Disney World, you walk in and there's maps by the door. They're not making you scan a QR code. There's something about having a paper map. So that's a big thing, a big project that we do every year. That I really feel like has a lasting impact throughout the state because it's in all those rest stops and all the things. And a lot of times people say, golly, we stopped at that Baldwin rest stop headed to Gulf Shores or Orange Beach. We didn't even know about Fairhope. Well, we picked up that brochure and we're like, we have to go.
Yeah.
And a lot of time we call it the lobster effect. People will go to Orange Beach and get sunburned and they're tired and they're like, we can't do any more beach. And then somebody there says, you ought to drive down to Fairhope. And they come and they're like, man, next time this is going to be where our trip is. And so,
And then they end up moving here.
That's right. That's right. I can't tell you how many people. My office was at the James P. Nix Center when I worked at the city, and so a lot of seniors, wonderful facility. They will offer so much for our community. But one of the guys that was a volunteer at the front desk, I said, Lou, how did you end up being here? And he's like, well, I was in the CIA, and I worked in Augusta, and all this. He said, but we drove through Fairhope, and the lights had just gone in the trees. And he said, before I left, I bought a lot in Rock Creek. He said, I thought, this is where we got to be.
Absolutely.
And I thought, man, it took an afternoon of Fairhope magic, and he wanted to move here.
And he was just a drive-through.
He was just a drive-through.
Same story. There's so many stories like
stories.
that. I have a construction customer now, and they drove through, visited a couple of times, and bought a lot in Montrose. Now they're building a house.
Yes.
So
I guess when you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, I think, and I think part of the reason to, what makes my job so fun, and one of the things that makes Fairhope so special is we do have those fourth and fifth generation Fairhopians, but golly, there's so many people who chose to live here, writers and artists, and just we really attract kind of an eclectic population. And when they get here, they're like, man, I want to teach a writing class, or
wow.
I'm an arborist and I want to be on the tree committee,
Right.
or and they really want to. I came from here, and this is what we did there, and there's ways to, and so. And I was reminded this morning, I was talking to my husband, I was like, what should I talk about? And he's like, oh, you'll be fine, And he said, one cool thing is, when they hired our former mayor, or one of our former mayors, Tim Cant, he was the first full-time horticulturist in the state of Alabama. So that was a really progressive thing that they did. But they said, we're going to have one person on staff who's his job is just to beautify our city, to make it beautiful. And he told a story not too long ago when they dedicated the Rose Garden, that there was a Fairhope community member that came forward and said, I want roses down here by this water. I want roses. And he said, I want it to be anonymous, but I'm going to give you $3,000 a year. No, I don't want anybody to know, and I want you to use it just on the roses. And so anyway, that rose garden, he did it until he died. And his family
wow.
didn't even know about it until they
That's
started
amazing.
figuring out, why is my dad giving the city $3,000 a year? But that a rose garden is now it's One Nation's in Bloom. It's an award-winning rose garden, and it's kind of grown into this. And now, of course, we have way more than one. We have one horticulturist, big staff of people who grow our flowers and change our flowers. But it took one person to say, golly, to have that vision and to be generous, to really, and I could say that, gosh, I mean, there are so many things like that in our community.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know every time my grandmother would come to visit us here, and we had to make
go
a
and
trip
see.
to the big pier
Yes.
to see the roses. I mean, that was
Yes.
just a thing.
Yes.
And then another thing with Fairhope, Century Bank we're not a new bank. I mean, we're family owned since 1903, but we're newer to Fairhope with our location. In 2019, and in 2020, the city of Fairhope welcomed us with a beautification award for our bank.
Y'all have
So,
done a beautiful job.
super
Gorgeous
proud of
bank, and
that.
the landscaping
And-
is so pretty.
yeah, but it's just a testament to Fairhope and how how everybody makes new folks feel welcome.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it really made us feel welcome, even though we weren't new. The Luce family has been traveling to Fairhope forever.
Yes.
And it's
Gaynor
always
Luce is my neighbor.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
And it's just, I think it's always been a dream of theirs to have a branch here and then to be welcomed and received so well by the community.
Well, and I really think that people that want to build homes here and build businesses here, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And, and they kind of feel that community and they buy into,
Yeah,
what Fairhope is about.
absolutely.
And they do plant beautiful landscaping and they care about our trees. And, we have an Arbor Day committee. We have a Fairhope Tree Committee, which is who gave you that award. And, we have treasure trees where they go out and they measure the trunk and they say, golly, this oak is 100 years old. We're going to protect it. We have the city contracts with Chris Francis, who is an arborist and well-respected in our community for really saving trees, for trimming them in a way that keeps them healthy, that makes them beautiful. And I mean, people even say that Fairhope effect. You'll see how a tree's huge and then they trim it just enough, like in Montrose where the cars can go under it. But there's something about that canopy and the moss and the way that we do things that, we really want to respect our environment and keep it as beautiful and natural as possible. And we were very fortunate for the people who came here before us that kind of laid that foundation and did that. And I feel like the progressive mindset of our leaders and the people who live here really continues that for the next generation. I tell my kids all the time, when you go to college, I have one that's talking about going to Ole Miss. I'm like, Ole Miss is fine, but you're not living in Mississippi. You got to move home to Fairhope. So I tell him all the time, I'm like, if you meet a girl, the first thing, before you get too serious, you need to tell her, my mama said I have to move home. Because I want my babies close and I want them to enjoy the community that they've grown up in, and I want to take my grandchildren to Gene Speens and to tree lighting to these movies in the street. So we'll see. It's a prayer, but
yeah,
absolutely.
So you've already decided you're a lifer. Like there's
this is it for
this
me,
is the retirement community and everything.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
Well, because you've poured your heart and soul into it, and you want to
Yes.
see it grow, see it go further, and then enjoy it.
Yes.
Enjoy what you put into it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if I hit the Powerball, I'd be right here in Fairhope. This is it.
That's
So
great.
there's a few other events that go on here in the city of Fairhope. I know that we've had the privilege of sponsoring several of those. The state cook-off. Tell us a little bit about that and how that intertwines with the city and what that actually benefits.
Yeah, so it's the Rotary, the Fairhope Rotary sponsors that state cook-off, and man, it's kind of done the same thing as Girls Night Out, just grown. And it is a fantastic event that really raises so much money. It's fun for our community. We block a street off. Something about blocking a street,
I know.
Yeah.
block a street, and there's like different community groups and businesses that cook their own version of that steak. And so I know y'all have been a huge sponsor of that for many, many years. And those sponsorships, like the one that Century Bank provides, really enables that Rotary Club to give back to our community. We have a Rotary. There's a after school program that they fund. They do things like update our park equipment.
do that. They did the gazebo for
Yes.
the walk to school, so
Yes.
the kids can meet at the gazebo and
So
walk
the
on to
Rotary
school.
Club sponsors the state cook-off, and is
Yes.
it like their
Right.
largest fundraiser that they
Yes.
like support all of their events with and all of their
Yes.
clubs and
And
things
I
and what they do to
actually-
give back?
My sister's best friend, her dad is, and I forgive me, I don't know all of the correct terminology, but he's like one of the high people in Rotary. That's like a lifer, Rotarian.
Rotarian, yes.
yes. And he goes to, even when he travels, he goes to the different Rotary clubs, and he is super involved. And she said, Mr. Adams said, that Rotary State Cook-Off, it is the best. He looks forward to it. He loves it. And I said, golly, that's saying something, because I mean, he's been to it all. And and that event takes an army of volunteers, and really just people who want to see that money go back into our community. And so we are grateful for y'all also sponsoring that super duper event, because it's wonderful for the children and for our community as a whole.
Yeah. And the local hospital here, Thomas Hospital, do y'all partner with them to do certain events and things like that?
Yeah, so Thomas Hospital is, obviously is like the major hospital in our area, and there's so much that they do. I sit on the advisory board at the hospital and get to see all the ways that they help our community. Like I said, they're going to be at the Girls' Night Out. They're going to talk about all the women's programming that they have throughout the year, and they do a photo booth, and there's women there that can talk about, all the services that they provide. This is this is another podcast, but we are the oldest and largest single tax colony in existence in the United States.
Okay.
And
Hold on just a second. The oldest?
we are the oldest,
And
and
what
to
else
my
did you
knowledge,
say?
the largest single
Largest.
tax colony that still operates in the United States. And
Okay.
so, part of the taxes that go in when you live on single tax property, they pay a tax to the single tax colony, and they have an office in Downtown Fairhope. And that money also is poured back into our community. When they built the birthing center over at Thomas Hospital, the single tax colony gave $1 million. When we built our library in Downtown Fairhope, they gave $1 million. We also have one of the largest, most beautiful libraries in the Southeast. Gorgeous, which, in a time where a lot of libraries are closing, we decided, hey, we're going to pour into this library for our community, and they have children's programming and all the things. I mean, the youth, they've got a little room where you look up at stars and everybody gets a little pod. I mean, it's something really special.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's a testament to our value in the arts and education and writing. And there's even a little house on that property where we call it Writers in Residence. So if you're a publishing writer, and you want to come and live in Fairhope for 6 months and write a book, you can live there.
Oh, wow.
And so, we've had a lot of writers, I'm saying Forrest Gump, but Winston Groom, who wrote Forrest Gump, lived in Fairhope for a long time.
Okay.
And kind of near the Grand Hotel. We've had Fannie Flagg, who's had a home here, who wrote, what is the Thelma and Louise movie? I'm blanking. Fried green tomatoes. Yes.
Okay.
And lots of other, but we've had a lot of, and I think that, anyway, those are two big ones I can think of, but there's lots.
Well,
And when you say single tax colony, are you talking about your property taxes? Is that what we're talking
Yes.
about? Okay.
Yes. And so, like I said, that's a podcast for another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's very extensive. But when they, a lot of what we have, like the Bayfront, from the pier all the way to the American Legion, all of that was set aside by the original people who founded Fairhope.
Okay.
And the fact that we don't have homes on that people can walk it and enjoy it. We have a fishing pier and a boat launch. All of that was set aside when they founded Fairhope and then deeded back to the city of Fairhope for maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
And so, part of that, I've never been to a city anywhere that has that much value. It's actually been to the Supreme Court 2 times that I know of, where people have tried to get their hands on it, but we have won every time. And so, for people who maybe can't afford to live on the bay, they have a pier. They have several piers. There's the Orange Street Pier. There's the Fairhope Pier. That they can enjoy and get to be a part of. And so it's really special. It's really, really special.
Well, and that's great to, let people know that, like property taxes, things like that can always come with negative conversations, especially if they're expensive, to let them know that money is held here and put into their community. And all these things that you see that your children are benefiting from come from that.
And future generations, like they're like what they've done for the hospital and what they've done. They've helped buy land to maintain green space and for hiking trails. And so all sorts of really amazing things that Fairhope has. Because of these people who came before us and said, like, these things are important. And so, anyway.
Another great thing that Fairhope started doing several years back was the Art Walk.
Yes.
And we are a sponsor of that once a year. We sponsor at the Arts Center, and it's the one, I forget the name of it, but where the artists are encouraged to draw local things, so the clock and things like that. But, we go to the Arts Center, and we set up and meet and greet everybody. But it's a cool time to come out and just walk the streets of Fairhope. A lot of folks will open their doors and display art that they may not, they may not normally do that. So that's a neat time to come out.
It is. And we are the Eastern Shore Arts Center, and all that they do for our community, pottery classes and painting classes and all the things that that we are giving our kids access to, and the things that they pour back into our community. And for our community our size to have that kind of art exposure, and to have the army of volunteers that they have that have kept that going through all these years, and doing things like First Friday Art Walk is really special. It's a huge asset to our community.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great. I've learned so many things today.
You know, one of the cool things I said, I need to remember to tell them this, when the people who formed Fairhope all those years ago, I think it was 1894, when they came to Fairhope, one of the guys said, you know, I think that this experiment that we've got going has a fair hope of success. And they ended up naming Fairhope.
That's how
we got our name. I
of
think that they have a fair. I would say that we've done much better than fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But their
so
vision, you know, kind of started it all.
Yeah.
And I think there were 28 original people who came and found this spot and said, we want it to be a single tax colony. We want to share. We want to have this pier, and we want to all enjoy the land and support one another. I think they did a good thing.
Yeah.
You know? And
definitely.
you know, I think all the time, you go through a lot of small towns in, you know, Alabama, Mississippi, and they're real narrow. You know, there's not a lot of parking, and the street's kind of small. And when they laid out our downtown originally, they made room for all this parking, you know, on each side, and that's not something that's normal. And so just the vision that they had, they knew we were going to grow. They gave us space to grow, and the way that they positioned our town, really some amazing, insightful, progressive people that, you know, I'm grateful for the vision that they had. You know,
Yeah. That's a neat story.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
You'll have to be sure and put that in the magazine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here. So tell us, I know it's hard because you've just told us so many things, but tell us one special thing that you feel like is the thing that keeps bringing people back or bringing them in for the first time. I know I said one. I know that's hard. But when you came to do your internship, what was that one thing that just your light bulb went off and you're like, this is my place. This is where I'm going to be? Was it the people? Was it was it just the location?
Certainly, I think the people are the number one asset of our community for sure. But I've always been drawn to beautiful things and flowers and green. I mean, I went to Auburn, and you know, Auburn is also in agriculture. I mean, lots of trees, lots of flowers, and you know, I really think that your environment affects your mood and affects your life, and you know, even as in Fairhope, the mayor goes to the school children when I worked there, and he would say, you know, we don't litter in Fairhope. We clean up our environment. We keep our environment clean, and we, you know, and it's important, you know, because if you throw your trash and they throw their trash, then all of a sudden it's just normal to throw trash, and you know, and so I say all that to say, like, the pride that people have, you know, when you see people who live here. I would see when I worked at the senior center, people would walk to the next center. When they got there, they'd have a Greer's bag and you know, a grocery bag, and knot it up. Where if they saw anything on the side of the road, a weed, a Coke can, they picked it up because they want Fairhope to be beautiful. And that isn't just the people who work for Fairhope and get paid to do it. It's the people who live here.
That's right.
And you know, I just, when I worked here, seeing that, and I love all the flowers and the water and the trees, and you know, I really do think that, like, it affects your mood, and your, you know, it's like when your house is clean as a woman, right?
Yeah.
You go home and your house is a mess, and you're like, oh, you know. But when your house is clean, you're like, all is right in the world, you know.
Yes.
And maybe I can sit down for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but my husband does tease me when we travel and we go other places. I'm like, what about that chain link fence? Who in this city is letting that happen? And he's like, we don't live here, you know? Or I'll take pictures of sewer caps, and I'm like, oh, they have copper sewer caps. Or when I went to Chattanooga, they had some really cool, like, you know, brick couches and stuff, and I'm taking pictures. Like, what are you taking pictures of? I'm like, we need to do all this, you know, like all these things. Once I went and somewhere, and they had solar trash cans, and I thought, golly, we need those, especially 4th of July. And I came back and I took it to the public works director at the time, and he said, "This trash can is $24,000, Alex. We can't build it, and that's high. We need a bunch of them." And I said, "Well, thank you for looking into it."
Yeah.
But anyway, it's
You're doing your job. You're bringing the ideas to the table.
Yes,
There
and,
you
and,
go.
and a lot of times we like to take them and make them better or make them
Yeah.
Fairhope, you know? And so, anyway, I think the people for sure, but also just the pride that we take in our community.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what about you, Miss Nancy? Like, would you agree with that, or is there one other thing that sticks out in your mind?
I think I'll piggyback on what you said. I mean, the people, the pride that we take, you know, if you're having a bad day at work or a busy day at work, if you can just take a minute and ride by the pier.
Yeah.
You know, roll your windows down and listen to the birds and the waves and smell the smells.
Especially now, that area right now.
I
I mean,
love it.
we just did a huge waterfront restoration project, and I think it was over a $10 million project. But all new brick pavers.
It's
They,
beautiful.
you know, repaired the fountain. They didn't take away from its original beauty, but really like restored it. You know, fixed all the beautiful benches and the pier, and really all the lighting is new. And it's we took what we had and really just brought it, you know, back to life in a lot of ways. And so it's you know, it's beautiful.
Well, you're continuing to be unique as far as taking pride in and taking care of what you have, and then adding to it as you go. So that's a great thing. That's a great thing. It's part of the success, probably the biggest part.
Well, and
of why y'all are so
attracting
successful.
businesses like Century Bank, you know, people who want to invest in our community, people who care about the communities that they're a part of, and so
people here are just so they've been so supportive,
Yes.
and of me personally,
Yes.
and with Century Bank. It's
well, and it's
special.
refreshing to see people who kind of jump into the community
Right.
and want to get involved in events like State Cook-Off and want to sponsor things like Girls Night Out, because you're just not, you know, here for business. You're here to support
Improve the community.
Yes, improve the community and support the people that live here.
Right.
So we're super grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you coming on today.
Absolutely.
I've thoroughly
This was
enjoyed this
fun.
episode.
I've enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, it's always fun when I can get out of the office a little bit. That rarely happens for me. So I always like to go and visit, you know, because we talk on the phone every day.
I know.
At least a couple
Message
times a
and everything.
week.
Right.
But it's hard for me to get over here to see everybody in person. So I've enjoyed being over here today, and I've enjoyed meeting you and
Oh,
having
you
you.
too. Thank you so much.
And that's all we have for
good.
today. So y'all tune in next time. Go to their website. Tell us about your
Visit
website.
downtownfairhope.com.
Okay.
And it's
then,
just going to say the events all year and list all of our businesses downtown. And you know, even if you didn't get a ticket to Girls Night Out, come on out and shop and dine, see what
us,
it's about. And for sure, State Cook-Off, support Rotary, and all the things that we have going on in Fairhope
Yeah, that's
in
great.
the spring.
All right. Well, until next time, y'all be sure to check us out, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.